Hi, my name is Yana, and in this video I'll show you guys how to crochet a granny square as well as a granny square book sleeve that you can use as a laptop sleeve, a book sleeve, or just a random little trinket pouch for your stuff that you need when you go out. But before we get into this video, I want to apologize for the fact that this video is 10 months late. I know 10 months, that is an insane number of months. So the story behind it is I posted the granny square tutorial that you're gonna see in a few seconds, and I promised that the next video was going to be this granny square book sleeve tutorial. Well, since we're here, it obviously wasn't, and I completely forgot about it. So that's why I'm posting it so much later, because I just remembered that I had this in my drafts and I quickly edited this and we're gonna post it today. So yeah, I'm so sorry about that. That's also why the video is just worse than what I would hold to my current standards of video recording. But I mean, it was 10 months ago. I wasn't that good. Plus, I was also sick during the recording. I'm so sorry. My voice keeps breaking, cracking, and I have so many voice cracks in this. So it's actually kind of funny. Hope you have a good laugh. But yeah, let's not talk too much. The first section is going to be the granny square tutorial, which is just this video re-added into this one. And then if you want to skip that, you can go to this time and then you can just follow along for the book sleeve tutorial on how to connect all the stuff. But yeah, all that said and done, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. All right, we get it. Here's the tutorial. Hi guys, my name is Yana, and today I'm going to show you guys how to crochet a granny square. So this is how the granny square will end up looking. I have chosen these few colors. You can do it in one color or in however many colors you want to. But for this granny square, I have chosen 3 colors. For this project, I'm going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. So I'm going to start off with some pink, but you can choose whatever color. And we're going to start off by making a magic circle. For more in-depth tutorial on how to make a magic circle, I have a tutorial for that up on my page. To make a magic circle, you want to lay your yarn with the tail end facing towards you, 3 fingers holding it like this. And then you want to place your pinky and kind of like pinch the tail end right there so you have it secure, because you're going to grab the working tail and you're going to twist it around and make this like X, and now you can let go. And now you want to grab your hook, slide it under the top right half of the X, grab the top left half of the X and pull under and twist. Now you're going to grab that top left half again and chain 1, and you have made a magic circle. So pulling the tail end will tighten it, and then pulling the circle will open it up. And now we're going to be chaining 2 more. So 1, 2. Now we're going to place 1 double crochet into that magic circle. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the magic circle, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to place 3 double crochets once again in that magic circle. So one more time, how to make a double crochet: yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to make 2 more. Once you have made 3, this is what we're going to call a shell. 3 double crochets for a granny square is a shell. Now we're going to chain 2 and repeat that. So 3 more double crochets. We have a shell, a chain 2, and a shell. A shell, a chain 2, and a shell is a corner. Once you pull the string, you can kind of see it form into this square. And the start square right here, you can't really see it because of these white double crochets, but it's basically just 2 corners, obviously, 1, 2, or 1, 2. And that's what we're going to make. So now, after you have made 2 shells or 1 corner, we are going to chain 2 once again, place 3 more double crochets into that magic circle. we're going to chain 2 more and finish the shell at the start. So 1 more double crochet, and now we're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet that we made. We're going to count the chain as a double crochet, but we're not going to be slip stitching in it because if you slip stitch in it, it doesn't have like this pretty look. It kind of looks pulled. So that's why I prefer to slip stitch into the first double crochet, because as you can see, it still has the look of 3 double crochets, but it hasn't got that awful hole in it. So now you can pull the tail end and close the hole up a bit. And as you can see, you've started and created your granny square center right here. And now we're going to move on to our next color, which is white. Now, depending on if you are switching colors or not, you can continue with this color. If you continue with your starting color, all you want to do is slip stitch into the chain 2 right here. So you're just going to slip stitch right in there and then chain 3. Or if you're like me and you're switching colors, but you're going to use the color again, I will just take my hook off and leave this open tail here and then connect my new color there. Because I'm using it again, so I'm not bothering to cut it. As you can see here, I didn't cut it, I chained, but I'll explain how to do that later. Just so you know, if you are using the color again, you don't have to cut it. Although if you aren't using the color, you can just grab your scissors and snip it off after chaining 1. But for me, after that long unnecessary explanation, for me, I'm just gonna grab my new color and I'm going to be making a slip knot and just slip stitch it onto a corner right over here and leave that pink tail open because I'm still gonna use it for the 3rd row. So basically what we're doing now is kind of the same. I slip stitched the slip knot into a corner and now I'm going to be chaining 3 once again. Now I'm going to be working 1 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets in this corner. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets in the same stitch. And after you've made the starting corner, we are going to chain 1 and make a corner in this stitch, and this stitch. The corners are all connected by 1 chain in the middle, but the corner itself, so this part, is a shell, chain 2, shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then chain 1, and then repeat. I hope it kind of makes sense. I'll show you guys what I mean one last time before I continue this row. So I chained 1, and now I'm going to be placing 3 double crochets in the corner in the chain 2 stitch from the row below, and then chain 2, 3 more double crochets. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to be chaining 1 and then repeating what I just did. So 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the next corner. So this row, once again, is also only made of corners. So now I'm just going to continue this row with corners here, and then closing it off right here. All right, once you're done with that last corner, we are going to chain 1 more time, and then we're going to be placing a double crochet in that first corner that we made, like so. And then we're gonna slip stitch in the first double crochet that we made. I am only using the white 1 time, so I'm going to chain 1, pull tight, and then grab my scissors and cut it off. Now we are going to turn to row 3, which is basically what we just did. But if you are like me and you're using the first row color once again, all you have to do is re-put your hook back into that loop, and we are going to pull up and then chain a very loose 1 to reach that chain 1 space, and I'm going to be slip stitching in here. And now we're going to repeat what we just did, but for the middle parts, we are going to be working a shell in there. Like I said in the beginning, a shell is just 3 double crochets connected with the other corners by a chain 1. So we're going to start it off by chaining 2 to start the row and start our first double crochet, and we're going to place 1 double crochet right in there. The third one we're going to place at the end of the row. Now we're going to chain 1, place a corner in the corner, and now we're going to chain 1 once again, and then place 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space. And basically that is all you need to know for a granny square. Granny squares are super easy. So now all you are going to do is repeat this pattern by making a corner, aka 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in every corner, and then a shell or 3 double crochets in a chain 1 space, so right here, and that shell is connected by a chain 1 to all the corners. And build your granny square. Now you can do it however big you want it to be. After this row you can stop, or you can make 1 more row. So in total I have 4 rows, 1 2 3 4. We're going to connect 2 granny squares in pairs so that we have 3 sets of 2. To start off, you want to lay your granny squares with the right or pretty side facing each other. What I mean by right side is, obviously you can tell the difference here. This is the wrong side and this is the right side, so we want right side facing right side, wrong side is facing you. Then you're gonna grab your yarn connecting color of choice, last color or whatever you want, and then we're gonna continue using our crochet hook because sorry about my voice, I'm still sick. We are going to just be making simple slip stitch connections, right? To start off, we're gonna make a slip knot and put it on our hook. And just to clarify at the start, a corner has 2 chains, one on this side and one on this side. So when I will be referring to the first chain, I will be referring to the chain on the side that we're working on. Here's a chain and here's a chain, and then here's a chain and here's a chain. When I say slip stitch into the chain of the corner, chain 1 of the corner, I'm referring to the first chain on this side, right? And for this project, we're also going to be working in the back loop only. The back loop of a stitch is this loop right here. We have the front loop and the back loop, and for this project, depending on how you want, I will be working in the back loop only, so in this loop right here. Although if you want to, of course you can work in both, but I think that it just looks better when connecting, so that is what I will be doing. So we're gonna make a slip knot and put it on our hook. Then we're gonna be inserting our hook into the first chain's back loop of the first granny square, and then the first chain's back loop of the second granny square. So the back loop of the second granny square is gonna be the one in the back side. So technically, I mean, this is really hard to describe, but technically we are working in the front loop since it's facing us, but it is technically the back loop since we have the wrong side facing us, if that makes sense. It's really hard. I don't know. These terms are making me confused. I hope you understand what I mean. So we're gonna slip stitch right in there, like so, and now we're gonna continue work and connect these 2. So insert your hook into the back loop of the first granny square and the second one, and then we're just going to make a simple slip stitch. And once again, so technically front loop of the first granny square and back loop of the second granny square. I hope this doesn't get too confusing. If it does, you can totally just go through both loops of each granny square. And for the chain, we're also going to be connecting. So the chain also has these 2 loops. So we're just going to go into the front and back, or back and back. And once you turn it around, this neat connected granny square look. Yeah, that's how I like it to look like. And that is what you're going to do for all granny squares in sets of 2. So once you're done with connecting all 6 granny squares with another granny square, we're going to come back to connect them all together, finally. And just to clarify, at the end, you want to work into the first chain once again. So we're just gonna skip that last chain right here since the second chain belongs to the other side, right? We just wanna one side that will be for future connections. So once you reach that first chain on both sides, of course, it has to be parallel. We just want to chain one and then cut off with a like weavable length. It doesn't have to be too long, like so, and then pull it tight. And this is how it should look like, although I don't know what this is. Oh, maybe just cut it off. Ignore that. And now I'm just going to do that 2 more times with these 2 pairs. Again, when you connect, you want to make sure that you have them wrong side facing outside and not on accident have it like this, because then it's just like annoying because you wasted your time, right? So 2 more times and then we're almost done. All right, now once you've made the pairs of 2, we are going to be connecting them together. So the whole like shape of the bag is going to be the granny squares here, granny squares set here, and then we're gonna have this as a flap. Although here for the front piece, we are going to add some rows on top to make it more like a bag, of course. All we're gonna do now is connect these 3 pieces together to become one big piece. So I'm gonna show you guys how to connect this piece together, and then you'll connect this piece. So once again, we're gonna be placing them right side facing right side, so we have wrong side facing us. We're gonna make a slip knot and put our hook through it, and then we are going to here. So the first square is gonna be really what we just did. We're gonna insert our hook into the chain right here and the first chain in the other one. Once again, I'm going in the back loop only, or front loop, whatever you call it. We're going to slip stitch into each stitch. So basically what you just did. So once you have reached the center right here, there's going to be a bunch of loose ends, so we're just going to try to ignore that. We are going to go into that second chain, so the chain of this side, since the chain of this side has already been connected, right? I swear, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. Every time I talk, it just closes up. So we're gonna connect it right here with a slip stitch. And now what we're gonna do is we're just going to go through both of these slip stitches. So one, this row right here, and then that row right there. We're just gonna try and stab our hook through and then pull a slip stitch right through there. And then move all of these loose ends aside, and then we're gonna go into that chain this side of the granny square. And this is how it should look like. It is a very clean kind of square closing, I guess. You know, all these terms are kind of confusing, but whatever. Now we are just gonna continue with the granny square from the other side. And you also want to make sure that you have them like parallel connected, since at the middle there may be some confusion. You want to check once you maybe reach like the chain one that's here between the shells, that you are on that chain for both granny squares, but that goes for every single granny square connection you'll make. I'm just going to continue connecting. Once I reach the first chain of the corner right here, again I'll be cutting off, and then we'll connect this part. So basically what we just did, nothing special, and then we can finally move on to the completion of this bag. Honestly, I mean, it's almost done, just like a few more steps. Now I am done with connecting all the pieces, and I'm just gonna cut this off, and now we're done. And we only have about 3 steps left. After you've connected it, this is how it should look like. It looks really nice. Obviously, it's not really straight that much because you still need to like block it and everything. But I mean, you don't even have to. Honestly, I probably wouldn't. Just a bit more stretching, you know, to get it straight. Now all that's left is to make a double crochet border around the entire thing, and then multiple rows of double crochet for the bottom part, so that you can like flip it over right here, so it's a bit longer, so that the flap isn't like this, you know. This you could also, of course, this would be more like a, ooh, new idea. This could be so like a hook pouch, you know, to slide in your hooks. But I'm getting distracted because the flap is gonna be more like this. You can see with the first version of this book sleeve that I've created. Now we're going to start the double crochet border, and for this part you have to start right here. So you want the right side facing you, and you want to start in the, you want to connect your slip knot in the top right corner right over here. This is a must to follow the pattern. Okay, you just have to connect it there. So I'm gonna grab my slip knot and then make a slip stitch right in there. We are going to start off by chaining 3, of course, to start the row, and then we're gonna place 1 double crochet in there, and now we're gonna place a double crochet into that shell right over here, so into the double crochet from the granny square, like so. And we're just going to continue with double crochets all around this piece, which means that we're also going to be placing a double crochet in the corner. Now, whatever you want to, you can place a double crochet like through the hole, or you can go into the chain. I go into the chain. I think it looks more intact like that since you're going into the stitch, but it's really irrelevant because I doubt that somebody will actually like inspect a piece that much. Alright, so once you reach the corner, not the corner, the middle, I guess, place a double crochet into this like chain, obviously, and then we're gonna place 1 double crochet right here in the middle. So just stab your hook through the slip stitching part like this, and then again a double crochet into the first chain. Although you might have to like kind of pick the 2 loops out because it's so stretched, like so, and this is how it should look like. And then we're just going to continue, and once I hit the corner I'll show you how to work the corner. Once you reach the corner, you want to place 2 double crochets in that chain 2 space, and then we're going to chain 2 and then place 2 more right in there. Kind of a corner, except we're taking away 2 double crochets. That's because it's just slightly different. And then you want to work into that first, and then you still want to work into that first double crochet of that shell though. You don't want to miss that. So this is how your corner should look like. It's kind of like a less corner since we're cutting away those 2 double crochets. So now what you want to do is you want to work this side done, and then once we're at this granny square, so you want to finish this corner, once we're here, I'm going to show you guys what to do here, because here we have to make a buttonhole so that we can close this thing, right? So alright, now I have reached the other side of the panel, and now we're gonna make the buttonhole. So for the buttonhole, you will have to base it upon the size of the button you choose to use. You need a button for that, so depending on how small or how big it is, you will need to see how big to make the hole. I don't actually have a button here. I should have grabbed one before. Oh my god, why did I get one? Sad news, I don't actually have buttons on me. Like, we don't have any buttons besides like really small ones. I don't have any button to base it on. Yeah, let's just ignore that. So all you want to do is you want to go to the chain right here. Depending on your button size, you will need to chain 1, or maybe if it's a big button 2 or 3, or however many you need to chain, and then you'll make a double crochet right in the middle. It will be off center, but you don't notice it at all. This would be your buttonhole right here, the little hole that you created with the chain. Now this is obviously really small, so maybe I'll chain 2 or even more, again depending on how big your button is. You want to make sure that it like fits through, and now all you want to do is just continue with the whole thing. And once we end up right over here, I'm going to show you guys how to continue. Once you are done with making a full like border around the entire thing, we are going to close it up. Basically, we're just going to put 2 more double crochets in this corner, and then chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into that double crochet, again skipping the chain, but the chain 3 does count as a double crochet just because we don't want that like weird gap that it creates. So now we're almost done. Now we are going to work on making this part a few more rows taller. So depending on the thickness of your yarn, you want to make to 3 or 4 more rows here. So we're going to start by doing that. We are going to start off by chaining 3. And now we are going to work double crochets into every single stitch until we reach the corner right here. So you literally just want to continue by making a double crochet into every single stitch until you reach the other corner. Alright, so now I finished the first or second row, I guess, and I ended up in the corner once again. And for this corner, we're just going to work a double crochet into that first chain of this side, and then we are, so that it makes it like parallel, because the chain 3 that we did at the start was kind of on the chain 2, if that makes sense. Kind of, I almost said kind of, I don't know why'd I say that. Anyways, now depending on how many rows you want, I think I'm going to do 3 rows just to make it a bit more bigger and nicer, but obviously depending on your yarn size and everything, you want to make as many rows as you want. I kind of like having 3 rows because then the bag itself is a bit bigger. So to start the next row, although if you don't want to, you can just cut off here. We are going to start the row. I'm going to start the row with a single crochet on top of each other, but you can just start the row with a chain. And then we're just going to continue working the row till we get to the end. So it's just double crochets. Okay, so I just frogged the 3rd row that I made because I didn't like it. I didn't like how it looked. I am actually only going to do 2 rows because for me it fits. So whatever you want to, you can make 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9,000 rows. So now we are actually going to immediately go to stitching this together. So this is basically, okay, I need to stop saying it. It's not the last step, basically, but it is kind of the last step, okay? It's kind of the last step. But now we're just gonna be slip stitching or whatevering it together. So we're gonna slip stitch these sides together. Do that, we're obviously gonna flip it inside out once again. So pull it out and then fold it around so that we have it here, making the granny square line up perfectly to the granny square below so that the double crochet rows end up on the other granny square. This part is gonna go at the middle of these 4 granny squares, right? Now we can start connecting. What is happening over here? So we are going to turn it around and then fold it properly. And then we're going to work on connecting this side first, and then we're going to cut off and then work on this side. So basically what we're doing is just what we did just now. You just want to make sure that you're lining it up correctly. The double crochet that we just made right here, or the 2 rows of double crochet that we made, are equivalent to 4 normal laying double crochets. You want to count from the middle, you want to count up 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you want to pinch that stitch and slip stitch into that one, right, like so. That is your starting stitch. And now we're going to continue by making 2 slip stitches for each double crochet that is laying like this. Since a double crochet, the height of a double crochet is basically 2 single crochets. We already did 1, so the next one is going to be in the same double crochet right here. We're just going to kind of stab our hook through there. Although I'm only going to go into the back loop once again, or front back loop. So here, here, and slip stitch it. Go here. Grab the back loop, and here is the chain part, so we're gonna go into the chain instead, make a slip stitch, and now we should be at the normal double crochet part. So now I'm obviously also going to just go into the back loop of both, or the front and then the back loop, and slip stitch it together. So that is what we're gonna do. And for the other side as well, this part is just slip stitching, although I will show you guys how to start this one once again. All right, so for the last stitch right here, we are obviously also gonna make a slip stitch. Yeah, that's actually it. And then we can just chain 1, and cut off. So for this part, I would actually recommend cutting off a longer part, just in case you wanna, in case something opens up or anything, make it like about a finger or so long, you know? This is not a finger, it's way longer than a finger, but you get me. Now we're gonna move on to the other side, so right here. All right, so here we are going to once again start at the top. Again, we're gonna line it up to the granny square at the bottom. We're gonna go into the first stitch right there. Oh my god, my voice is breaking. And we're gonna make a slip stitch, pull tight, and then we're going to once again align it. So here we have 2 rows, so we are going to count 4 stitches, so 2 and 2, and then we're gonna slip stitch into the 4th like so. And now we're going to once again 2 double crochets for, oh my god, my voice. We're just gonna repeat what we did for the other one. So we're just gonna repeat what we did for the other one. We're gonna do 2 double crochets for each double crochet that's laying flat, and then we're gonna go into the stitches as well, and we're also gonna go into the front and back loop. This is how it should look like, so it's a really neat and tidy connection, which I love. That's why I also prefer to go into the front and back loop only, because then you leave the front and back loop to show, so it hides this like ugly connection part, right? So I just finished the connection on the second side, and now we're going to once again chain 1 and then cut off, and now we can flip it so that the right side is outside. And besides weaving in, sewing on the button, we're actually done. So obviously 2 more steps left, and we're gonna get rid of this ugly. This is how it looks like. Oh my god, I'm actually so obsessed with the colors and everything. I love this piece so much. So pretty. All we have to do is just weave in, maybe sew in a in-sleeve and sew on the button. Although for the sewing on the button part, I don't know if I can actually show you guys how to do that, because, well, first of all, I'm not a good sewer. Like, I cannot sew stuff. Second of all, I don't even have a button to show. Although it depends on if I will show you guys, but the button placement will be here in the middle, of course, thing, you know, or you could even make it at the bottom. So it just really depends on how you want it to be. Like a pencil pouch, you want it to be like tighter, right? But if you want to put your, maybe, I don't know, iPad in there, you could put it right on top so it fits in snugly. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and see you guys on the next one. Bye.